Hey, what's up, Dean? Saber Performance. Happy New Year. First of all, it's 2024. Hold on. All right, that looks better now. So, Happy New Year. Hope everybody starting off New Year good. We are back. I have almost no voice. It's starting to get better, but Jonathan's Ranger. There's the motor. So we were kind of forced in a way to put it in quick, which actually worked out really good. Slid right in, didn't mess up any of the front, whatever you call this, core support stuff. No scratches, no dings. I hadn't gotten the motor mounts off yet that were still attached to the frame because from what I read and researched and stuff like that on the Ranger, you have to take the spring out because, let me see if I can get in there. I'm just going to crawl all around the ground again. And it is a tight spot, and having the suspension out of the way would make it easier, obviously, but so up in there you can see there's kind of a black hole. So up where the spring perches or spring pocket is, right there where the shadow of my finger is, there's a hole, and you can kind of see the shiny spot. That's from the washer on the nut for the bottom of the motor mount. You could actually slip the 18 millimeter socket with a swivel, a deep socket with a swivel up in there, get it on, and the extension comes right out through here, and then get a ratchet, get it loose enough to where you can get a whatever you want to call it, impact on it, and they'll spin right out. So there's just one stud and then an alignment pin. So I got both of those off. It wasn't hard, just uncomfortable being up on the ground, but had I not sunk the motor in, I could have put it up on the lift. The motor right now is a little bit low because the mounts that I put on, those there, they were actually sitting on those motor mounts originally, and we just kind of hung it, and then the holiday and everything, and I just noticed there's no cam sensor in the motor, which, good thing the Holly gives you room. I could squeeze my pudgy hand up in there and get a cam sensor in it. So I'm happy I saw that. So I have the oil pressure sensor in the back. Can we see it? Oh, there's so much room for activities. So you can see the oil pressure sensor somewhere. Can't see it. It should be there. Yeah, there it is. Right there, next to the intake bolt. You can kind of see it right there at the edge. You can see I had to take the bell housing off. So the oil pressure sensor's in. I have the new coolant sensor, but I'm not putting it in because I'm not going to break it with the chain. I hate when I do that, and I've done it plenty of times. So it's just kind of set in there now. I'm going to take the pieces that come with those motor mounts. These are the tabs, basically. And I'm going to measure. Hold on. Excuse me. Caught some kind of weird flu bug thing going around. I don't know. But I'm going to measure, cut them. I'm going to try to find a plate that I can put across there. I just think putting a stud back through with a nut is just going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt on this. And honestly, it's not difficult to lift this motor straight up. So it would be, if I welded those brackets directly to the frame, kind of in a little bit of a lower position would be good, because then you'd have some side, you'd have plenty of side swing. But I may end up just welding them directly onto the frame. I'm trying to get my forward rear position set, but there's plenty of room for the factory AC box. You can see there's plenty of room for that. Even the oil dipstick, it's in a weird spot. I can move it, which I'll probably end up moving it forward onto maybe like the header bolt up here, or up onto this, get off, onto this bolt here, just to bring it out a little more so it's a little more comfortable to grab. Front space, obviously the motor's tilted way down, but there's, you know, a full 4.5 inches to the nub on the water pump. And this Holley accessory, you could see where it puts a big gap between the timing cover, because it lines everything up with the truck pulley on the crank. And that way you get all low mount stuff, which I really like this kit. I really do. It's on the more expensive side, definitely. There we go. So now the oil pan's not sitting on the frame. But it is a really nice kit because everything bolts directly to this water pump housing. So that's really, really neat. Yeah, I mean, we are plugging away. I got the emission stuff off. So I think what I'm going to do, that's the emission line right there. And it's big. It's half inch. Yeah, it's half-inch line. So I am going to get a half-inch fuel line connector that goes to -8. I'm going to put it on here, probably use a 90, 8AN 90, and come directly up into the back of the rail. And that'll be that line there. And then I'll most likely, I will use his factory feed, which I can shove a 6AN in. I have to swap the rail. I have to look at the fittings I have, but I for whatever reason, I have all 8s in the rail. So I think what I might do is back there, I might put like a female T with a male and a male, and have the crossover tube go to the back over there, and then come off this front fitting, swap this for a 6, and just come directly down and into the return, which this is the original feed for his engine. So I'll just return it into that line there, and then that takes care of the fuel system. That half-inch is way more than enough to feed this motor. I could probably use the 3/8 feed this motor enough fuel. So that'll be cool. That takes care of all of that. And then in the back, that emission line goes up to the canister. I'll just trim it back, put a compression 8AN fitting on the line, and then run a short 8AN to the top of the tank where I put that fitting on it. I don't know if, yeah, I had shown this before. Ouch. I took his factory sending unit out and I put in this 8AN bulkhead. Did the plastic tube with the adapter down to the Walbro 450. Yeah, it's a Walbro 450. So that way there, everything stays nice and neat. I have a vent. This is an emission line, I believe. I don't remember fully. I don't remember 100%. I have a diagram of all of these, and there's another emission back there. So my intention is to use one of these two for the tank vent and tie it into that one back there, and then string it up onto the frame. I got to get rid of the emission canister in the back. I'll get that out once I kind of get the motor bolted in with that stuff. I did figure out the throwout bearing. Chris over at Tick, super awesome dude. That's my rep. He basically said they accidentally threw the wrong bearing in there. So the bearing that I'm supposed to get has a sleeve. The throwout bearing has a threaded sleeve that just slides over this, has an O-ring in it to kind of squish it onto this so it doesn't slide around too much. And then you remove one of the front retaining plate bolts, and it has a stud for the throwout bearing pin. Yeah, the anti-rotation tab. So it has like a stud that goes in there. So I returned that bearing to them. They're going to get the new one sent out. I called Tramec. Obviously, this is the speed sensor. This is your neutral safety switch, which is cool that a transmission actually has a neutral safety switch. But we most likely won't use that. I thought that was the reverse, but the reverse is on this side. This is the reverse. So I have to get the plug, which, you know, yeah, I'm bitching. Whatever. You give me a neutral safety plug that almost nobody uses, but you don't give me the reverse plug. Just throw the plug in there. Come on. But these transmissions are cool. It also has a machine spot for mechanical speedometer that you could put in there. So if you're running old school, you know, cable style dash, you can run that. So we're going to get the plug for that. Most likely going to use the forward conversion to line it up better. I have the U-joint ordered. I took his drive shaft. His drive shaft's gone. I took his drive shaft apart. I took the old yoke off. That is a 1330 series yoke. So I ordered the 1330 to a 1350. This is a strange part number U1669. So it's 1350 series. So I ordered that conversion yoke. That'll be here. I think it said tomorrow, but I'm not in a rush to get that piece. Because until I get the throwout bearing and get this back in the car with the bell housing on it, I don't know exactly where I'm going to be with the drive shaft. What I want to do, what I hope to do, is get his... See, I think his transmission might be longer. Let's measure. Yeah, let's do that. So the Tramec, we'll just go to the back, is like 24 and an eighth. Yeah, we'll call it 24 and an eighth. Plus the bell housing is 6 1/4, which is 30 and 5/8. So 30 and 5/8. And his, let's see, an easy spot to grab it right there. Huh. Would you look at that? Is about 30 and 7/8. Call it 31. Yeah, we can call it 31. So the new setup is slightly shorter, which may work very, very well, because obviously this has a mechanical fan. So overall, if we call that 31, and this is, I guess we can call it 29. Call it 29. 31 and 29 be 59, 60. 60 inches overall. How long is our new LS? So we'll go roughly there. Huh. It's about 28 and a half. We can call it 29. So I think as far as engine and transmission package, we are very, very close to the same factory length as his engine and transmission package. And a big, big factor of that is, I have no idea. Well, I guess the mechanical fan. We gain probably 4 inches not having a mechanical fan on the front of this, which, mind you, I have to do electric fans. But here's the front with the grill off. I took the grill off because his original grill had a little crack in it, which the painter did fix, but it just, I don't know. He bought all new stuff. New headlights, new fog lights, which I put in for him because I couldn't stand looking at the old ones with the gloss, like weird kind of yellowed out on them. But anyways, I could fit 2 pusher fans in here, and I believe they would be about a 12-inch fan. Let's measure. Boy, oh boy. So let me slip this in. I mean, two really good 10-inch fans might fit in there. That's just a support, and then that's a vertical support, which I can make that go away. I could definitely make that vertical support go away, and be able to attach something down here, you know, and maybe attach it down here, come up, catch this bolt point, and then go back up to the vertical support, give us a little more space in there. But I believe two, like the deep Doral badass fans, 10-inch fans, make them fit in there, you know, up against the condenser, be able to push a ton of air through there. I did pick out a Griffin radiator, but I've been waiting because overall it's pretty thick. It's like a 3 3/4 inch thickness on it. So I don't want to order a $400 radiator and have it not fit. You know, over the size of it and everything is like spot on perfect. And my idea was to basically use all the factory mounting tabs. So like there's the two little pillars here and over there. I could weld tabs onto the radiator to get it to fit those mounts, and that would hold it in place. And then I could weld two tabs, because it's more or less like a blank universal radiator. I could weld two tabs to catch the two uppers, and that would keep it nice and clean and like a factory kind of look. So I'm trying to get through all the little things. I already started kind of ideating, getting ideas. How about that? Where to mount the Terminator X in the truck. Under the dash is really, really tight. So I don't know that I'm going to be able to fit it under the dash, but I think what I might try to do on this one is bring the harness through the kind of the console there and mount the ECU under one of the seats. That's my idea. So here, these are all parts that he has. This is for the headlight thing, a steering wheel cover. He's got a shifter in there, all new shifter, boot, everything. Like, he bought everything for this truck. So this is what I've done. This is what I have to do. So it's all the interior parts and everything. We are little by little, his new third brake light even. It's like it's a LED, kind of matches the front headlights a little bit. I don't know, they call them like European style. I don't know, ricer. I don't know what they call them. The painter came, started blocking the car out, wet sanded it so he can cut and buff it. So that looks like it's coming out good. I'm not a painter, but it looks like it's coming out really good. So yeah, I'm gonna start little by little, knocking out the little things. I really want to get the motor mounted, but kind of got to wait for this to come. So I'm going to make a way to keep the motor in there and kind of hang the motor in here, because I can't really put the truck on the lift. I mean, I can, but it's a pain in the butt having to work the hoist and the lift at the same time. Yeah, that's about it. Babble. So the heater lines will work out good. I'm going to use one of the factory lines, this one here. I'm going to use on the back port. It'll fit nice and go nice down there. This one here, because these lines went like this on the old motor. This one here, I'm going to swap the line from right after the valve and just use a regular piece of hose and kind of come down. Exhaust wise, this side should be no problem. The driver's side is always the issue on Rangers, S10s, stuff like that, with the steering column. So I'm going to probably need to offset the motor to the passenger side. Right now it is pushed a little to the driver's side, so I'm going to have to offset it, maybe offset it more to the passenger side to give myself some more room on this side. And it's almost kind of looking like we are going to have to do a custom set of headers for this. I don't think you'll find any manifold or anything to really fit good, or we have to offset the steering column. I kind of don't want to get into that. I'd almost rather build a custom set of headers for this. So that's something I got to talk to Jonathan about, which he's down for. But other than that, we have been running with our heads cut off. But we're getting there. I have another project for the Acrobat type stuff I got to get working on. I'm walking in circles, but for this one, that's it. We're done. Quick update on Jonathan's Ranger, the Danger Ranger. I don't know what. Oh, the other one last thing. That is the factory throttle cable, and it kind of has some whoopie bends in it and stuff, but it fits really good. That's like full pedals all the way out, starting to tug on it. So I'm going to come up with a bracket to come up that this will clip right into, and then it's a factory throttle cable. I think it'll look kind of neat. I still do have to do the tabs for the rails to mount them. That's not really a huge big deal. I just got to figure it out and then get it done. I got the vacuum lines on for the brake booster and for the Holly, because we're going to run the internal map sensor. I did find a pinout for this big plug. It's actually pretty simple. Everything else is working out really good. Like the alternator is in a good spot for the charging cable, which is here somewhere in this area. The rack and pinion is going to work out good. I took the cooler off. It's not really a cooler, it's just a tube that winds around it. This is for the alternator right here. This is from the factory alternator wire. Then it has this bracket that hung the harness up. No, that's not. Here's the factory alternator. So here's the factory alternator wire. So it's actually really long. I'll end up cutting that down and figuring out these wires here, seeing what they go to and what they're for. And then we'll just clip the plug off and make do with what we need. Yeah, so everything's coming together, starting to come together. But I'm gonna get all the little pieces that I know as of right now I need, like the little fuel fittings and stuff. Anyways, babble. 24 minutes of me yakking my face. Yeah, for now, appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of new videos. Hope you had a good new year. Have a good day.